Yeah, so it's funny because Miles, you and I had a conversation about this yesterday, so I'm not sure if my griping and complaining was the inspiration
Was
for this teaching. But I it's funny because I woke up this morning and I just started going through a lineage of things that I was grateful for.
Mhm.
And I texted my wife today and I said, "Hey, being grateful is a game changer." It's like, that's not new information, but I said, the next time I'm grumpy, can you just remind me to be grateful, please? And she started laughing. So it was a great reminder, and I really feel like my favorite part of this teaching is that gratefulness is a foundational truth, not an extra truth.
Right.
And I think that it's easy to forget that. It's easy to lose perspective on that when circumstances are really challenging. And so if it's not a continued discipline, then it really can easily turn life upside down.
And I think gratitude is hard under pressure. And the problem with ministry is it's sustained pressure over time. Sundays keep coming. They just don't stop coming. And learning how to be grateful in light of sustained pressure over time is really uh that's where I say it's more of a disposition, it's a choice, it's a grind. But I do think it's the energy, it's the fuel, it's the you start losing gratitude. Like when I worked at 12 Stone, there was a coffee shop at 12 Stone that inside, and we had all these dreams about, people from the community coming in during the week and everything, and it just wasn't happening. And so we just literally, what happened was it was open from like 9 to 4 and we weren't getting enough traffic. So we closed it from 10 to 2 and we kept just narrowing down the hours. That's a death spiral in a business model. The answer is not to shut down. Like if you're in a business and your answer to not enough business is to close the hours, your business is definitely going under. The answer is to get more traffic in it and to do the things that get more people to come to it, not shut down the hours. That's a absolute death spiral. And gratitude is lacking gratitude is exactly like that. It's a death spiral. You start when you lack gratitude, you lack energy, and when you lack energy, it's all more of a grind. And when it's all more of a grind, it's easier to lack gratitude. It's just a death spiral down. I would suggest that if you're in some ways, if you lack gratitude, one of the best things you can do is just stop, get in the prayer room, and don't come out till you got it back. Just get in there and just remember what this is about. And you can't always do that, and we all have lives, but I think that would be some version of that is probably a good idea. What else? Eric, what hit you? You're muted. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
I was just running through the different various and very many passages where there's gratitude that are expressed. You mentioned the Psalms, you mentioned Paul. I'm preaching through Luke chapters 1 and 2 for Christmas, and you see the incredible experience that Mary and Joseph went through, but their responses were all deeply grateful. And even when Simeon gave them this blessing, which doesn't sound like a blessing, like, hey, your son's going to be the one that causes the rise and fall of many, and a sword's going to pierce your heart too. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a blessing, but they were grateful for the experience anyway. So,
Love that.
yeah.
Good. What? How do you guys? So let's just say this. Let me ask you guys a question. Let's just say you lack gratitude and you know it, and you're just how do you go get it back?
As a verbal processor, and someone who's not very observant, I have to go to other people to point things out to me that I can be thankful for. So I process a lot with my wife, my kids. I talk to them about all the things, because kids, like, they're excited about everything. You might think it's a piece of junk, but it's treasure to them, right? And so, and then friends here in the office, like, I'm constantly asking other people, what are the good things that are happening to remember? And then saying those things out loud will help me to recognize them.
That's good.
I've got to go by myself, get in my truck and drive for a while, or go on a walk, is kind of have it out with God.
Yeah.
And maybe cuss a little bit, and then you get to the gratitude.
Nice. That's honest. John.
I got to go on an airplane. I got to get out of here during the winter. See some blue skies, and then I get some gratitude.
That's fun.
But family, right on. Yeah.
Go ahead, Edgar.
No, I was going to say that I think for me, that's something that I try to go back to, like, my salvation story. I feel like when I remember what God brought me out of and who I was before Christ, and what, like, it was a mess. And like, when I look back at my salvation story, it forces me to thank God for even allowing me to be alive, because I technically shouldn't be here. And so I'm like, man, it's like, man, I would have never made it this far had God, allowed it. And then two, I don't know if it's a military thing or whatnot, but I look back and I'm like, I've been through worse. Perspective is everything. You know what I mean? And so it's like when I'm the most challenged, I go back to, like, those days in the dirt, and I'm like, hey, you've been through worse. Like, this is nothing.
I love that. I like the remembrance.
So just kind of reflect on those two things.
I like the remembrance thing. I used to, when I did couples, would have couples come in for counseling. They're always like uptight, and just and frustrated. That's why they are sitting with me. And one of the things I learned was to ask them how they met, and kind of I want their couple origin story. And what became clear to me is, if telling their story didn't soften them to each other, they were in real trouble. And if it did soften them, I usually felt like they were probably going to be okay. They're just really angry right now or whatever. But if they can go through their story and it doesn't change their disposition towards each other, it's not good. Chad, how did you connect with this? I came and taught this to your staff not too long ago.
Yeah, I mean, well, to answer your question, I have shared with you, I was taught a daily process practice that helps you get grounded in gratitude and helps you express your identity in Christ, and seeing the faithfulness of God in the small things and focusing on those on a daily basis. I don't think, like, when we look at our whole story, we see the big stuff, but there's oftentimes a lot of space between the stuff. And if you look at the small examples of his faithfulness in your daily lives, you can create a pattern and a trajectory that keeps you current and present. And so that's what I try to do. Well, that was good. Did a good job. Yeah.
Thank you. Give an example of a small thing. I remember when you taught this to your staff, you had a couple examples.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about relationships. So a couple of years back, my wife for Christmas bought me a thermos. This is actually what I like, just this big, like, old school thermos sort of thing, right? And I love my wife's coffee. Like, if I had to choose, I'd choose her coffee over anyone's. It's just good and it's consistent. I just dig it. And so today, as I was pouring a cup of coffee, I was like, man, I'm so grateful that God would put my wife's name in my life, and that she makes coffee for me every day. Like, that's that's her being surrendered, but us being like equally yoked as we serve one another. Like that was my example from today. So like just very, very small things. And in the context of anything bigger, it's grounding, because it's like, no, he's faithful in these small things, even though these big things may be tough. So
I love
that's
that. That's really good. That's really good. Any other thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I've swam in this for quite a bit. I'm sharing a pastorate with my wife, and she leans a little more to despair. So I kind of have to have the disposition of gratitude, or else we would spiral each other out. But yeah, there's something that I started taking on a while ago that I've tried to teach my kids, which has not been the easiest thing. But to notice when good things happen to other people and just respond in, that's nice. Like that's good for them. And to kind of rejoice in that versus I hate you. Like, you get pictures from the beach and all that stuff. Just a small little thing that helps me.
I love that. That's really good. I'll tell you a story and then we can jump off. When boy, it was 2005, I think. I was married at the time, and we were 33, and we had like a 8 and 6, and it's a series of days that where I watched somebody be grateful in the most difficult circumstance. I remember it was Sunday because we had to pledge for the church. We were doing a fundraiser and a pledge, and we pledged more money than we'd ever pledged. It was a ridiculous amount of money. And I remember driving to the event to make the pledge. My little Toyota Corolla broke down. And so I had to park on the side of the road, hitch a ride with a friend. And that car was stolen and never seen again. And that was Sunday. So when we came back, the car was gone, and had never seen that car again in my life. That car was just poof, gone. On Monday, our refrigerator broke and our oven broke. On Tuesday, our microwave broke and the other car broke. Yeah, my joke, if I'm saying this in a sermon, my joke is I was holding the toaster because it's like, you can't have, this is how we eat now. Like, this is our only source of food. And then on Wednesday, Jen went to the doctor, and we found out she had ovarian cancer. And she lived, but she, it was hell, obviously, and it was 6 months. We were really young. It came out of nowhere. It was chemo and loss of hair and all the things. And I got to watch her up close, and I'll never forget. By the way, I'm freaking out. I'm spiraling out of control. I'm a complete disaster. And there were times where she would have to look at me and she would say, Miles, God knows what he's doing. And if he's giving me this, then he knows how to lead us through this. And this is a good thing. And God's going to make this right for us. And I'm telling you, there is a strength to having the disposition that all of life is a gift from God, and every circumstance is orchestrated by that same God. And I've watched people go through a lot with great gratitude because they hold on to that disposition. And so I want to encourage you guys this season to do that. And that's part of what Christmas is it should be a joyful, grateful time while we're all doing things. You guys are all working really hard, and I'm just hanging out, going to church. So, all right, we'll see you in a week. Chad is on, and I'm excited for that. And we'll see you guys in a week, and talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.